Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey of My Mother's Son podcast. Today I'm joined with Matthew Lesko, who most of you would know as the question mark guy. Matthew, thanks for joining me today.
Nothing better to do. This is great.
Looking forward to the conversation. Before we get started, though, just introduce yourself in your own words. Who is Matthew today?
Fucking old. I'm 81 years old, but the happiest I've ever been in life. I mean, I can't believe it. And I think, God, if I knew 81 was going to be this much fun, I would have got here earlier. Why did I wait so long to get there?
I love it.
No, it is. I mean, I used to thought, oh, aging was, I don't know what, just not something to look forward to. But no, you get rid of all that stuff that you're worried about. You realize, what the hell I worry about that stuff for? And concentrate on other things that you dig deeper in life to get more out of it. I feel like, I mean, well, you're a coach, so you know about athletic, and especially guys in life. We all want to get stronger and faster and smarter, and that's what your life is most about. But at 80, none of that shit's going to get better. You're going nowhere but downhill, and it's just trying to stop that slide. But there's one thing I feel that you can get better at, no matter what age you are. That's what I work on now, is love. Man, we could all just love harder, can't we?
I
No
love
matter
that.
how old you are. That's one muscle you could keep growing, until you die. So why are you bitching about being old, man? You got something to work on.
Is that why your jacket has incorporated the hearts
Oh
as well as
yeah,
the
well, that's
question marks now?
yeah,
Instead of, in
question
the
marks
past, it
and
was all the
heart. Yeah,
question marks.
you're right. Yeah, no, I started with question marks, and as I get older, I said, yeah, I had the question marks because no, if people are confused what to do because they need answers to questions, and we live in a society now, you get 1,000 answers to everything. But even if you get the right answer, to do something that won't really, that's not the important thing in life. You could get things done only if your heart's in it. If your heart's not in it, you're going to give up because everything's to do in life is a pain in the ass. So you're going to run into roadblocks and all that kind of stuff. So to get through that, your heart has to be in it. And I think, and I'm sure as a coach, that's what, boy, here's the three elements of hitting a ball and billion yards, but boy, that's really hard, right? And if your heart's not in there to learn that, you'll never get there. Yeah. So that's why everybody wants a simple, 1, 2, 3, stepping process to be successful. And that's not the important part. The important part is that you got to have that heart, and it's all a little different for us. And I'm sure as a coach, that we're all different bodies, different whatever. So we got to take that, that maybe that framework that someone talks about how to hit that sucker, but make our body do it, which is unique from every other body.
Exactly.
So and you have to, and you're not going to get through that because it's going to be a pain in the ass, and you're going to swing and miss so many times. So you really have to have the heart to get up there and take another swing. And most of us will give up and try another sport.
Yeah. No, that's very true. Couple things I want to unpack there. I mean, number one, you mentioned you're 81 years old now. You feel, as good as you ever have in your life, which I find absolutely amazing and inspiring at the same time. Um, so tell me a little bit about, um, you know, why here at 81 are you still, you know, doing podcasts and still trying to help people? And, while you're at it, you're, you're the best you that you've been at this point. I mean, you know, most people think of when you're 81, you're just sitting down in the rocking chair and relaxing and kind of just riding off into the
Move to
sunset.
Melbourne and play golf. And well, that's I could understand. That's what my dad did. And growing up in Pennsylvania, like the ideal was to uh, retire and go to Florida and play golf for the rest of your life. And I said, God, I mean, I like playing golf, but I'm a shitty golfer. In retrospect, why do I want to retire and do something I'm shitty at for the rest of my life? Yeah.
True.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And if you find something that's your art or whatever that you can contribute, I think it's all about contributing. What could you give other people? How could you help other people? And now what's in my mind? How many more people can I help before I die? What the hell else I better to do? And what else? Anybody better. And also, that's a very, very selfish thing. Because it feels so good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you as a coach helping a kid hit that ball that he's swinging and missing. Man, that's the reward.
Yeah.
Yeah, giving is the reward. Being able to give is the reward. Why do we think it's something for saints or something? No, we all could do it and get that wonderful feeling of giving.
Yeah. Where was that, how did that get into your DNA, that feeling of giving? And because for me, I grew up with parents who were both givers. My mom gave of her time. My dad didn't have as much time because he drove truck over the road, so he gave of his
Yeah.
money more so than his time. But I saw that, and it was just kind of inherent as I grew up to want to
Hmm.
be a giver. So where did your, giving heart come from?
That's a good point. My parents were both very nice. My mom died when I was about 13 or something like that. And uh, I don't know. I mean, we're all nice people. But I don't remember thinking now that I'm trying to say the word love more because we never said it in our house for some reason. I don't know. Maybe back then it wasn't. And even as an adult, it was a word I found like if I said that, I felt I had to marry you. And so that respects me. So even getting to that point, I didn't, and that's just a few years back. I've been starting to use that word and give enough that because every time I say it now, my heart even opens up a little more. I don't know why or whatever. I'm not smart enough to figure that out, but I know it feels good. Fuck it.
So you also talked about, doing stuff that you have your heart in it, and I think that again is so important. I mean, so many people you talk to, that you meet, and they're in jobs that they don't like, that
Oh,
dead end career, and this and that, and it's just, I feel so blessed that before we started traveling full time, I mean, for 30 years I had a vocation that I absolutely loved. Now there were for many of those years, it was actually volunteer work, but I still, I was in a sales position, which again, I really loved, not
uh-huh,
because of what I was selling, but because of the customers that I was dealing with and relationships I built with those customers. And again, customers who, even to this day, when we get back up into Pennsylvania, if we see them in a restaurant or the grocery store, we still have a connection and a bond with, because I was
uh,
never the type of guy who could sell something just for the sake of selling it. It was all about relationships and, you know, building their trust and them knowing that they could depend on me for whatever their needs were. Um,
what'd you sell?
I sold building materials,
Oh, really?
which is,
Wonderful. Yeah.
again, a commodity. So it was a very price driven,
Yeah.
uh, you know, field, yet I could get higher prices many times from my customers,
Yeah.
um, because they knew I was going to take care of them. They knew that,
It was worth it.
them
Yeah.
paying 5 cents more for a two by
Right.
four was well
Right.
worth what they were going to get from
Right.
me, and that's really, one of the things that I loved about, doing that was just the connection and the people. And I had, the majority of my customers were, first and second generation Italians.
Wow.
And so we would even, if I would go over to pick up blueprints at their house, It was never a 5 minute stop in, grab the
Right.
blueprints and go. It was come in, sit down, have some pasta, have this,
Right.
have that, and an hour and a half later you're walking out with the blueprints, you know. So um it was just a
And a
great
sale.
experience. I've been so blessed to be able to love what I've done
Yeah,
my entire life. So what is your advice to people who say don't have their heart
yeah,
in what they're doing? Because man, that's a horrible way to go through life.
exactly. And but it's hard to get out of it. Um, at least I find. I mean, that one thing that got me out of it was failing at everything I tried.
Failure can be a great teacher if you
Oh
allow it
man,
to.
that's go out there, you get slippery. Oh yeah, I could hit a baseball. You go out there. That sucker's going fast. And so, you have to do something else that you're more, yeah. And I felt when I was failing at the businesses and everything like that I was doing, and uh, I wasn't having fun. I was doing the stuff like everybody told me to do. I was trying hard. I got an MBA and doing all this stuff, and they were failing. Even in the 70s, I got an MBA in computers, and I even taught computers back then. uh, and at a software company that even failed back in the 70s, where computers were big as this room. Yeah. and and turned to me, boy, I'm not having fun. I'm doing what everybody says, and I'm doing that so someday I'll have fun. Oh, that sounds crazy, right? Banging your head against the wall, and you think it's good. And maybe you have fun, and maybe you'll have fun later,
Right.
and you're going to be miserable for 20, 30, 40 years to maybe have fun. And I think, God, I must be, should be smart enough to figure out how to reverse that. Have fun now, so I don't have to gamble that maybe I'll have fun in the future. And that's what did it. And then the second thing, I still at that point, uh, maybe that was the start of this. Now I really believe that your heart is smarter than your brain. I wasn't smart enough at that time to even say anything like that or think of anything like that. But that's what I see it as. All the tough decisions, whether it's a personal relationship or whatever. I mean, we want to have a spreadsheet and check off the boxes, do all the, but boy, that's not real life and that's not real you. And for you to give the best that you want to give to other people, for you to have the best, like selling building materials. Well, you put your heart in it, and that was that relationship part. Everybody's just trying, oh, sign here, and they press a button on what to say to make the person sign, and go to these classes that do that. And you found out it's just having pasta with people.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
probably didn't teach you that,
No, they
And,
certainly didn't.
and that's what made the difference. And that was you. So you were having fun then,
Yeah.
not screwing some people to make them sign something so you could maybe go play golf in 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just we guess we all evolve. It keeps going, and I'm surprised I lived this long. And I figure I got at least another 10 years or so. And I work 24 hours a day almost. I mean, I just love what I do. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to have a place to give. I mean, we all want to love, right? So hard. Problem is finding something or to love harder or person to love harder, anything. So we pick up babies that, and pour our heart out to a baby or a puppy or something like that. We want to do that. And so I think we have two options. I mean, two places to do that in our personal life and in our professional life. And to give as much as we can, because that's the joy of life is giving, not getting. Capitalism sort of bends that a little too much. Yeah, capitalism is important, but
Yeah.
to the extreme, it gets our insides off course, I think. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I think it's a great thing, but like everything in life, I think there's got to be balance. There's got to be, and we we seem to in this country take everything to extremes, you know.
Exactly.
So what was it that inspired you? Um, I mean, the main thing you've done in life, you've talked about helping people. We really haven't talked about how you've helped those people. And, I do remember some of your infomercials back in the day,
Uh,
watching TV and, just helping people understand and unlock,
yeah.
government resources that they didn't know exist. So how did you start down that path? What was the inspiration for that?
Well, when I, when you fail a lot in business, you become a consultant. That's what I did. And I was helping Fortune 500 companies get information and stuff like that. And I was in Washington, just out of my bedroom with me, a phone, and a desk. So you could start a business with nothing back then. After I started businesses that failed and I got money to do it, I said, who won after I had these fail? The guy I bought all this stuff from, the lawyer, the accountants, all these people. I was SOL, yeah. I said, the next business I'm going to start, I'm not going to do any of that. The only thing that determines the success of my business is a customer. The lawyers, uh, the office, or the design of the business, none of that matters. Yeah, whether I'm an LLC or not, nobody cares. Yeah, the government may someday, but it'll take them 3 years to find you. By that time, I'll be out of business anyway, so it won't matter. And so I just went, well, it's customer. Just get a customer. Yeah. Uh, and I just concentrated on that. And then my customers, I go people with money. So I said Fortune 500 people. So I do research for Fortune 500 companies. And I was in Washington out of my bedroom. And to do research back then, we didn't have the internet. So you went to the library. Remember those? And I would go to the libraries and do the research. But the government here in Washington, best libraries in the world, besides the Library of Congress, which at the time was the biggest library in the world, every agency has libraries. So for their area of interest. So they're the mother lode of information on energy or agriculture or commerce or anything like this. And so I go to the libraries. And then when I go to the libraries looking for stuff, I talk to the librarian about that. Like I remember working for Procter and Gamble to work on pasta. Think of pasta. This is a real story. Pasta. So I'm out there looking at the market for pasta and all this kind of stuff because my client, Procter& Gamble, wanted to start a chain of pasta stores. That was somebody in the board of directors had a bright idea, and they hire a consultant to find out the data to see if there's any. And I'm talking to the librarian about what I'm doing. She said, "Oh, you ought to talk to Charlie over there. He's down the second floor over on room, two, whatever it is. He's our pasta expert in in the Department of Commerce." So I go down and knock on Charlie's door, and it's a big, warehouse of little cubicles all over. And he answers the door, and I got into Charlie's office. I couldn't get out of that sucker. I just felt he's been studying pasta for the last 30 years of his life. His wife is sick of hearing about it. Nobody knows he's there. He's got a bachelor's and a master's in this stuff.
He just wanted somebody to listen.
Man, and he would give me so much stuff, studies that they just spent millions of dollars on. He'd give me free copies of and show me all this stuff and everything. So I'd pack all this stuff up that he was giving me, and I'd send it to my client and thank Charlie, but put my name on it. See, nothing in the government is copyrighted. And I'd charge him thousands of dollars for stuff I got for free, and show them money programs. Charlie would show me money programs that they could use to start pasta stores and stuff like that. And I thought, wow, I didn't know about this stuff. And I got an MBA supposedly. I mean, and growing up, I'm sure you, like me, thought the government was the IRS and the post office. That's about it. Yeah. But look at all the stuff it has. Look at these people. I'm making, billionaires from millionaires are using this stuff to become billionaires. Now, why don't all those people in Wilkes-Barre know about this stuff? That's what's in my head. Every day I do this. There's people using the hell out of this stuff. And the rest of us, for some reason or another, we don't do it. And I've been working 50 years trying to find out what those reasons are.
Yeah.
And, and I and then I said, well, at the time, I did it, well, books. I mean, I couldn't charge people thousands of dollars in Wilkes-Barre to find out about this stuff. So you write a book. And my first book I did was called Getting Yours. But at the GPO, Government Printing Office, I found a book there called The Catalog of Federal Domestic Assistance. And that was the major book of all the major programs. They had about 1,500 government money programs, and it was all in that book. And I took that book, and an agent found me somewhere. I was getting publicity for my marketing business, and like Parade Magazine wrote me up or something like that, because that's the way I got customers for that. I couldn't afford marketing. So I tried to figure out how do I get publicity so people know what I'm doing. I would put ads in the Wall Street Journal, little 1 inch ads. I'd get people writing in on napkins and so, just crazy stuff. So I can't get a big full page ad or anything like that. But I said, God, if I could get people to write me up about what I'm doing for people, and that was when I first learned about publicity. Yeah. And oh gosh, so uh, where was I? 81. See, I feel there's a hole in the back of my head. These words are falling out. And every time I finish, there's a whole bunch of them down there in the back that I forgot. And it's just, the books, okay, people, I sold millions and millions of books and New York Times bestsellers twice, and I flunked English in college. I flunked English at prep school, and the nuns flunked me. Everybody flunked me in English. So for me to have two New York Times bestsellers, first thing I did was try to find that English teacher that flunked me. Uh, and because I plagiarized the whole thing, and you can do that. Nothing is copyrighted because the public owns everything the government has. But that's people read and don't do anything. It's sort of like diet books, I figure I was doing. We buy diet books and we're the fattest country in the world, I think now.
Yeah.
Or obesity and overweight is amazing. Um, and so I had to do something different. So for rich people, you could always charge them and they'll pay anything because they're going to make a lot of money. But how do you do it for the average person? I mean, I didn't want to be the $5,000 guy, the $500 guy. I want to be the $20 guy. And after writing 100 books and after the internet came, uh, nobody bought reference books anymore. So I was SOL, and there was no more of that. Business is gone. Bookstores are gone, all that kind of stuff. So it took me many years to figure out how to package this. I knew it was still important and felt that in a way that people would spend money on it. And a way, how could I do it that's better than ever did before without charging tons of money? And I stumbled in it by accident in this community kind of atmosphere we have now, or the internet. We build communities in the internet. And my community now, we have about 22,000 people that help each other get grants. Not me. People help each other. And that's better. I've been studying this for 50 years. So to me, to take somebody who just doesn't know how to spell grants yet, uh, uh, I can't relate to that as much as somebody who just found out about the first grant and got it and and can relate to that person who they were just a couple months ago or whatever, and to be able to help them better than I could possibly help you. I can maybe entertain you better, but I don't think I could help you as well as another member can. So that is, I'm so grateful to find that this late in life. And not only at $20, everybody told me I'll never make money on that. It is so profitable. We give out $70,000 of grants to members every month from the profits. We pay ourselves first, then the profits we give. And we're a small little company. I mean, we're not a big thing or anything. But 40% of our sales goes back to members as grants, personal grants. They just write one sentence. What do you need money for? And
Wow.
$70,000 goes out the door every month. And that's wonderful to feel. I thought you had to be Jeff Bezos to do something like that or whatever. Um, yeah, I mean, that's the proudest thing I have for what I'm doing. I never thought I'd be able to do something like that. Yeah. Kid from Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
to do something like that. And so that's what keeps me going. And now we have a little rough patch, so I'm going to have to put my business hat on more and figure this stuff out, and so I can keep giving out grants and teaching
Yeah.
people about government grants. That's the real mission. But it's a joy to give even the money every month to people because most of my people are really hurting, and they're hurting here because of not only, well, America, the way I see it, we create more millionaires than anybody else in the world. We create 24 million millionaires. And the second one is China. They got about 6 million. Japan is about 3. UK, England is about 3 million. But not only do we create the most millionaires, in the developed country, see, this is the cheat sheets I was looking for.
Gotcha.
In the world, the developed countries, not the rich countries, there's about 30 or 40 of them, that OECD is the organization that accumulates all the data. Well, we're not only the fattest, we have more poor people in America than any other developed country, the percentage of population. I mean, that is an astounding thing to me. And I just found out about this a few months ago. Yeah, I know we had poor and, and that was a big part of us, but we're worse than, or we're number one though. We're number one in creating poor people. Yay, we're number one. I told you, we're a number one country. Yeah, I mean, the average is about 7% or something. We're at 17%.
Wow.
And the way I see it, now again, I'm sure there's data to prove anything nowadays because we have so much data in our lives. But this is a graph of wages. So this is from Bureau of Labor Statistics. So all the wages in our country, how we make money, right? And so the total amount of wages back in 1980, well, both of us could have probably remember a little bit of that. Uh, the bottom 90%, that's the red line, the bottom 90%, we're getting 70% of all the wages in our country, the bottom 90%. Okay. And the top 10%, that's the green line, we're getting 30%. So 30% of all the wages in 1980 went to the top 10%, and 70% went to the bottom 90%. Fast forward to 2023, and you see what happens. The bottom 90% is losing a lot of their share of the pie, and the top 10% is getting. We're growing as a country. Yeah. And I think that's why people are pissed off. They're getting, I mean, growing up in Wilkes-Barre, I mean, I would have thought, and I'm a second generation immigrant from Czechoslovakia. Parents came over in the coal mines. I mean, I'd want to fuck up your game if you wouldn't let me play. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on. And it's sort of the frog in the frying pan. It happens so slowly. It's hard. That's why I like data to see the kind of thing that's really going on. And and the hypocrisy to me, the people run the country that all, or people think that giving money for free to people is bad. Yes, because that's a disincentive. But why are we giving so much money to rich people?
Right.
Why? Why? Yeah, and then we're disincentivizing them. Uh, that's why I see all these billionaires are following Trump around. They know it's the best place to get money. Make another billion, man. That's easier to get a new law or a friend in the somewhere, to create $1 billion instead of creating a product that will help people or something like that. I mean, they're not dumb. Yeah. Just like poor people are not dumb. They're just poor.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and so it's trying to educate people and the pain you see out there. I mean, travel around, I'm sure you see it too. And I'm sure you see it back home, probably even worse. You know, that the people on the lower end of the scale don't have the skills, don't have to participate in the world today, and they're getting forced out. And wow, so that's a bigger problem. But to me, I feel okay. They're tools, right or wrong. I don't say any of these things are right, but they're there. It's sort of like you need water. Okay, there's a there's a stream here. If you knew about it, you could solve your problem with water.
Right.
That's what. So whether that should be there or not is not it. It's to solve your problem now, so you could uh, make your life better to grow and contribute more to our society. And I think that's what we have to do is help people find that. And there's roadblocks. We don't teach them. We don't teach. Google, to me, uh, is the boogeyman in all this, at least in my mind, because that's where we go to get information. So if you want to get money to solve your rent problem or something like that, you go to Google and you put in rent or rent grants or something like that, and you get 200 million websites. Yeah. And so it's a fire hose. It's like drinking water from a fire hose. Yeah. And you'll make maybe a few phone calls or check some out. And 99.44% of everyone in Google wants to get your money, but you don't have money. So this is why this is a swamp. It's a shark infested waters for anybody who doesn't have money because they know how this country knows one thing is how to sell. That's right. I know. And know how to get your money. And now it's easier to figure that out. When I first started marketing, you direct mail, it'd take a month or 2 months to find if your idea worked. Now I could test 1,000 ideas in a half a minute to see which one you'll give me money for. So we don't stand
Yeah.
a chance there. So to me, if you don't have money, you just have to stay away. But we don't know where else to go. And even if you do find things, you'll make a call or two. And so what happens, see, you'll use Google. I feel that you'll make a call or two and you find out, oh, I can't get money. This people really wants to sell me something. Or I found one that was a government program, but they said I make too much money. So you stop. I can't, that's not an option for you. Yeah. And so you have to learn about these other sources. Can you go online while we're working, talking or not?
I can.
Okay. Go to findhelp.org. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now put in your zip code up on the left-hand side, up on top in Melbourne or in Pennsylvania, wherever. Doesn't matter. What'd you put?
I put the Melbourne zip code.
Okay. So, okay. Hit find. What do you get there?
Um, 1,942 programs.
Okay, that's 1,942 nonprofit organizations and government offices that give you money and free services to do something. That's 2,000 programs just in Melbourne. 2,000. See, what the country is made up of, and I didn't realize this until you look at the data, is capitalism is 2/3 of our country. But a third of our country is what I call this community society. You know, it's your churches, nonprofits, government. They're all there to help people. They don't charge money for what they do. They get money other ways. So you, to get help, you have to concentrate on this community society, not the capitalism society. They want your money. That's what they're alive for. So you got to put that aside until you have money and concentrate on the community society. 2,000. I mean, that's right. So you can go up to that search then. You can't pay rent. Okay. So you go up there and you put rent in the little search bar on the left-hand top.
Yep.
Okay. What do you got there?
A couple things come up. First is migrant and seasonal farm workers, rent and utilities assistance,
Look
um,
above the first
emergent
one. To get
emergency assistance,
right.
men's sober living, veteran financial assistance, critical care coordination.
See, they
Um,
all provide rent grants, but there's a number. There should be a number up on top of that that will tell you.
66. Yeah, it's showing one through 10 of 66
Right.
total resources.
So there's 66 nonprofit organizations that give people rent money. Yeah. And what you have to learn then is that, okay, you say, well, you're not problem with sobriety, you're not a military or something, but you have to start calling all those people, even if you're not in their category, because these are people that help people with rent. So you have a collection of people. I mean, they're coaches. Like if you had these are all coaches, but some do, kindergarten coaching, some do pro coaching, but they're all coaches. So they know the coaching business. So they know the business of people who give money for rent. So you talk to them. Okay, you can't help me, but can you suggest someone else that could help me? Yeah. Even though I can't. See, everybody's trying to think they could go into this world of a gazillion places and just put in a website and got the exact place to give them money. No, you need people now more than ever before because of so much information, because you can't tell a good thing from a bad thing or what really is for you. But there's people who do know that. And in the nonprofit and government world, they're open to the public. It's not like you're calling somebody at a company. Well, what the hell do I want to talk to you for? You're not a salesman. You going to buy construction materials? No. Okay, screw you.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times when people hear the term grant, and again, this is from a guy who came from the nonprofit industry,
Yeah,
that, you know, that nonprofit organizations are the only,
right.
you know, organizations that can apply for grants that are out there.
No, the government gives out to individuals an average of 17 to $18,000 every year to every grown up in America. Every year, $17,000. This is why we're in debt. Tell
Yeah,
you. That's another problem. You got to solve your problem first.
right.
And that's right. If you're a nonprofit, yes, and then it's usually complicated or whatever. You're looking for 100, $300,000. Yeah, they're not just gonna, you don't have to just sign something. But for individuals, it's usually a page or two, and that's it. Fill in the blanks. And that's all you need. So a lot of people will go, okay, I need a grant writer, right? And you don't. Well, and even if you did, you're not sure because haven't even seen an application yet. So what you have to do is find a potential applications, and you'll see you don't need one for most of this stuff. And otherwise, but people go out and get grant writers, and to me, it's like buying a prom dress before you're invited to the prom. Look at an application that you want to fill out first before you think about, hiring a grant writer. Uh, yeah, so it's trying to get over that. And for anything, and you on the road too, here's another website you may will like. Yeah. Oh, by the way, you see all the subjects they cover there. I mean,
Yeah.
jobs, transportation, anything, training for anything, um, housing, um, is needymeds.org. See, the key is you only want to go to .org or .gov, G-O-V or O-R-G. They're the people in the Giving Society.
Needymeds.org.
Right. Okay. On the left-hand side, the second tab on the left on top, I think it says customer uh, finance or so. Do you see what? No, the left. I see your eyes going to the right.
Um,
Your other left.
yeah, I mean, there's healthcare savings,
Yeah,
education, getting started, healthcare
healthcare saving.
savings.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what you want. Okay. Now there, okay, even with Medicare and everything like that, you probably have. I'm like, I get dental care for $50 for anything. Yeah, for a senior in my neighborhood. I could pay too, but I want to see how the system works. Yeah. So there you need, if you look on the left-hand side of that page, go down, you see free and low cost. Um,
Sliding scale clinics.
yeah, right. So that's free and low cost mental, dental, um, healthcare, everything. Also above that is prescription drugs. So how to get free prescription drugs. There's so many programs, not only at state level, national levels. Every pharmaceutical company has that too, and they even help you fill out the forms, to get free prescription drugs. There's also grants they'll show you on travel to go to see doctors and stuff like that that you can't make it, and they have travel allowances. Then also in the middle on top, there's for certain conditions you have. So
Right.
there's thousands of nonprofit organizations that give you grants if you're recovering from whatever your cancer or whatever your condition is, they got thousands of different conditions that nonprofits give grants to help with that. See, and I know there's a lot of people hurting and even living money while you're recovering from something, things like that that people don't realize.
Yeah.
Uh, so just having that knowledge, and then you have to have some perseverance to keep at it. We're all so spoiled. We just want to fill in a form and sign it and get money, and it's
Yeah.
going to,
Instant gratification is definitely
right.
a time of,
Yeah.
the time we're living in right now. So, yeah, very, very interesting. And I guess, one of the hurdles is that a lot of people probably have is just the stigma that
Yes.
surrounds, you know, finding assistance like that. So, you know,
This is a chart. I read this article yesterday, um, and fascinating for that topic. Yeah. This is a grant that came out a year or two ago from Biden giving money for people to pay utility bills. $8 billion. Okay. Okay. A place called Politico, they're a research group in town here.
yep.
Uh, they went through the tax records because you get this grant through the IRS system. Yeah, they're using the IRS more and more to get out grants because they have it all set up. They send money out and stuff like that. So here they went through the tax records and find out who got this money. Uh, $8 billion. Okay. Now the thing down here, that's the top 25% of earners. People making $100,000 or more got 65% of this money
Wow.
for people to pay the utilities. Now it's beyond my thinking. And these are millionaires too. This is up the scale, everybody. So they got this money, $5 billion to help them pay utility bills. The middle 50%, okay, so that's about 30,000 to 100,000. That's 50% of the people. They got 2.8 billion. So the richest 25 got 5.5. These people got half of that, but they're twice as many people. And then we
Wow.
have the bottom 25%.
The
You
people who
can't,
really need it.
right, you can't even see that line. They barely got 1% of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
interesting.
I mean, like me, I get Social Security. I don't need it. What the fuck they giving me Social Security? It is. I'm still working. I'm doing well, and so I give most of it to. Instead of giving it back to the government, I give it to a scholarship fund at the local community college, which I think is the best place in the world to get an education. Uh, for $1,000, you could go to college. I mean, where I live, man, people spend that on lunch.
That is true. That is true.
And it's for single moms. I mean, who needs help more than anybody? It's some lady trying to raise kids and support themselves and everything. I mean, God. And then we call them welfare queens. Well, why the fuck aren't these millionaires who get this welfare queen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Very
that
interesting.
that's what keeps me up.
No doubt. Well, man, Matthew, we covered a lot of ground here. But is there anything, I'm sure there's a lot we missed, but anything on the top of your list that you think would be important to the listeners before we start to wrap things up?
Well, I mean that uh, stay away from Google. Remember that your heart is smarter than your brain. You have to deal with your heart more than anything else. And the free help is out there. We live in a wonderful society that people abuse it, yes, on both ends of the scale, but it's there. Uh, and your responsibility as individuals is to solve your own problem first before you can help other people. And the help is out there to do it, but it's going to take some effort on your part. But it doesn't take money. You don't need money to do stuff in this country. There's so much money and help out there to do things without money. If you think you need money, then you make an appointment with somebody. Like you think you need money to do something, like you want to start a business or something like that. Okay, there are offices in your every county that have mentors for people who want to start a business that help you find the money you need, help you find the legal help you need, whatever. Start a nonprofit or work on your invention. They're all free. Yeah. And but you don't know because they don't advertise. You go to Google and you'll be paying for something you didn't need, didn't have to pay for, or getting scammed. But that's a biased opinion from a guy who's been doing this 50 years, and we get our own biasnesses in everything that we do too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Matthew, how do people find you on the internet if they're looking to kind of dig
Oh,
into
yeah,
this
I have a
more?
service that is $20 a month that you could eat as much as you want. We help you as much as you can. And actually, it's because it's members helping members. And we have, like right now, there's somebody live that is on a Zoom that you could join and ask them questions, how they got money, and direct you and everything. And we got 3, 4, 5 hours a day like that. And we give out our own grants. But that's leskohelp.com. Leskohelp.com. But even if you don't use that, go to findhelp.com, use that, use all the free stuff. If you want a better job, go to careeronestop.org in any county. We're giving out so much money. I mean, they will take you now without a college degree, get you a training job. You're learning while training and pay you $40,000 a year to get a $100,000 a year job. We need so many talented, trained people. And at any age, you can start at 60. It doesn't matter. And that's the kind of help. That's the kind of money that's out there, but people don't know where to go.
Yeah. And you said that last one was careeronestop.org?
Yes, careeronestop.org.
Okay.
So you have the findhelp.org, you have the needymeds.org, and the other thing is a for seniors. You're in Florida, right? You want seniors to know this. Let me get the number for you. Uh, sorry. Uh, it's your local area office on aging.
Yeah.
Oh, there. Okay, let me get there. I'll get your phone number though. Yeah. Okay, 800-677-1116. 800-677-1116. You call them. They'll hook you up with the local area office on aging. There's dozens of programs. And if you're taking care of an aging, I remember my folks were down in Florida and I'd visit them and my mother would get me aside and yell about how my father's an asshole, which is, we all are. And she was yelling and all. So she sounded really upset. So I called that 800 number to get her free legal help to divorce my father. And I called her back, gave her the number. She fucking yelled at me so bad. That's what I learned. He said, she said. When a woman says something, it's not the same thing when a guy says something. They want action, right? You pissed off your hair. I'll show you. Here's a hammer. Here, fix it. Women just want to blow steam. But that's where I got free legal help to get a divorce here.
Well, I'll put those websites and that number in the show notes for sure, just to make it easier for people to track them down.
Yes.
But yeah, this is a fascinating conversation. I mean, I know we could probably go on for much longer, but I think at least for the listeners, it's kind of
Right.
scratches the surface a little bit. And if they're, looking to dig into it, we've certainly provided some resources for them to dig into it for sure. So, that brings us to our final question. As you know, I told you earlier, the subtitle of the podcast is Many Little People, Many Little Places. And that comes from the opening lyrics of a Michael Franti song, Gloria, which go, when many little people in many little places do many little things, and the whole world changes. So, what's one of the
That's
little
it.
things that Matthew does on a daily basis to make the world a little bit better
Oh God,
place?
what I do. It's really loving and helping. It's hard because the environment stops you from loving because you get pissed off or you get screwed. And there's so many forces fighting that in your heart. So opening up your heart every day, how can you do that? And you see, at least I see it when I do that, it's like a breath of fresh air every time that happens. So
I
keep at
love that.
least saying the word.
I love that. I love that. Matthew, this is a great conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm glad that at 81 years old, you haven't decided to slow down and you're still out there helping people and giving them resources to get to a point where they can definitely help themselves and then hopefully help others as you are as well. So definitely appreciate the time. It was a great conversation. For those out there listening, be sure to check out my other podcasts and blogs at journeymymotherson.com. While you're there, check out my Pay It Forward program where you can purchase books, and Sandy and I will donate them to little local libraries or regular libraries or people along our travels. So, be sure to check that program out. It's a great way to, pay it forward, just like it's called. So, again, Matthew, thanks again for the time. Just an
My
amazing
pleasure.
conversation.
Stay well.
Thank you.